Next, I'd like to introduce someone that may be new to many of you. He is new to me. Ed Owens, the new CEO of the County Employees Retirement System. Ed comes to us from a highly impressive background in banking and law, and will be talking to us today about new, more independent structure of CERS and what the future may have in store when it comes to employer contribution rates. So nobody boo him right now. Maybe after, we'll see what he says. Welcome, Ed. Appreciate you being here, my man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Reagan, thank you very much. Thank you, Jim, for the opportunity to be here today. A couple of things before I start. Two things will be true. One, unlike the governor, there's nothing that I'm going to say to you that will be worthy of your applause. The second thing is that logo, the CERS logo, is in and of itself worthy of your applause. My understanding is it was a 4-year battle for that logo to actually come into existence. Your organization was at the forefront of seeing a separate board being created for the management of the county employees retirement system. You should be very proud of that. You should be very proud of the effort that it took in order to make that happen. When Shelley and Gracie first mentioned to me about coming to speak here today, I immediately said yes, because I wanted more than anything to just be able to say thank you to all of you who are here, because it's your effort over that 4-year period that allows me to stand here today as the CEO of this system. The board and I recognize the tremendous responsibility that we've been given by all of you. And we believe that we're up to that task. But this is a little uncomfortable for me today, because I can only tell you today what we're going to do. I hope to be invited back to the 48th annual convention where I can speak to what we've done. I'm not going to walk through these slides verbatim. You know House Bill 484 better than I do. You know what it took to get it. You know the blood that you shed to get it. It's here. We have our own board. 9 trustees that are focused solely on CERS assets. Solely, completely. I've been on the job for 4 months now, and one of the first conversations I had with a vendor went like this. We're so excited that CERS has its own board now, because we were used to coming to the old KRS meetings, and because some of the funds were so terribly underfunded, all of the time and attention at every meeting was spent dealing with those issues. So we never really had an opportunity to address the issues of the county employees. Now we do, and we're excited to have it. 3 of our trustees are elected by the members. 6 are appointed by the governor. Here's a look at our board of trustees. Betty is our chair, Jerry our vice chair. I've had the opportunity over my life and over my career to work with some really talented, extraordinary people. But this board and the focus that they have on the job that they've been given is extraordinary. This is an extraordinary group of individuals. And my understanding is over the 4-year period of time as this was coming to fruition, many people said to you, you won't be able to get a board. You won't be able to find someone to serve. Not only have we found people to serve, we found an extraordinary group of individuals. I look forward every day to going to work with them, knowing that our focus is completely and solely on what we can do in the fiduciary responsibility that we have to the over 250,000 members of CERS to ensure that their retirement will be the best that it can possibly be because of the work that we are committed to doing today. .484 established both the opportunity to hire a CEO and the opportunity to hire legal counsel. And we've hired Johnson, Bowman, Bronco out of Frankfurt as our general counsel. We're excited to have them as part of our team. But the opportunity that we get every day to work with Dave Eager and to work with his executive team, and I must say that both Dave and his executive team have been extraordinary to us in terms of making sure that we're aware of things that we need to know in order to best serve the membership of CERS. I'm very grateful and very thankful for that partnership, and we intend to see that it continues to grow. I want to speak a little bit to contribution rates, but before I do that, let me tell you what it is that we're working on every day now. On November 8th, just a few days from now, we'll have our investment committee meeting. And we're hopeful that at that investment committee meeting, we'll actually pass our investment policy statement. In that statement, we'll lay out the asset allocation that we've decided upon as a board and that we will move forward with for at least the next year's time. We're very fortunate that KPPA had an extraordinary Chief Investment Officer. Our Chief Investment Officer is one of the best investment minds that I've ever been around. We're extraordinarily fortunate for that. And we've got a great investment team. But one of the things that we're going to need your help with as we move forward is right-sizing that team. So right now we've got about $23 billion of assets under the umbrella of KPPA. CERS is about $16.5 billion of that total. As we continue to grow and to move forward with those investments, we understand that our investment team has to continue to grow and develop as well. Currently, our investment staff has 4 people in it, including our Chief Investment Officer. So contrast that to a group down the road, Kentucky Teachers Retirement System. They're about $27, $28 billion in total assets, so we're similarly sized. But they have about 10 investment staff. We've got 4. We've got an open position that we've not been able to fill, and we need to fill it, and we need to be able to hire at least 2 or 3 additional people in order to execute to the maximum potential of the asset allocation that hopefully we'll put in place in the next few days. So we'll reach out to Shelley and to Gracie and to others of our stakeholders to say, here's how you can help us be able to ensure that we can employ those people that we need. Now, to the contribution rates. Before I do that, let me say one other thing. Right now, our discount rate is at 6.25%. And we know, and we've looked at public pension funds around the country. And the median discount rate for public pension funds around the country is 7.1%. So we're below that. And the question is, how do we put together enough information to say to all of our stakeholders, to the board, that we're capable of doing more? Part of our being able to do more will rest upon our ability to hire the staff that we need in order to execute against it. So we're aware that raising that discount rate can be very helpful and beneficial to individuals and organizations that are represented in this room, and know that we are focused on looking at how we can do that responsibly. It's something that gets discussed almost every day. But the issue around our investment group is one that we have to solve. So right now in our non-HAS pension fund, we're about 53% funded. Our HAS fund is about 49% funded. Our insurance funds are both over 85% funded. So as you can see from this non-HAS contribution rate chart that's up, that the closer we get to being fully funded, the more we're able to control the contribution rate. And as this chart shows, and again, it's based on actuarial valuations from 2019, in 2045, when we are completely funded, the contribution rate is what it shows here. Now, you should know that the actuarial valuation for 2021 will be presented to PPOB in the next few days. So for me to say that from now until we're fully funded, there will be a fairly constant contribution rate, you can see it from what's here from 2019, and I don't know that I would change much going forward. Pretty constant. But we understand that we can accelerate the rate at which we're funded, how we're funded, by what we do with investments and what we do ultimately with our discount rate. So I'll simply say and show the slide as it relates to CERS hazardous. Again, the contribution rates are steady. You'll see that in 2025, it jumps a little bit because the contribution rate will be determined on the valuation from fiscal year 2020. So the valuation from fiscal year 2020 was difficult. And the contribution rates will, to some extent, reflect that. But once we get beyond that immediate hurdle, you'll see that the contribution rates level off and lower again as we get closer to being 100% funded. The goal of every board member and myself is that our plans are 100% funded. So we're working toward being able to do that. And I'll say very quickly, as I'm at the end of my time, I wanted to show this, and I wanted to tell this story, and I don't know whether or not it's true. It's part of President Kennedy's lore now, whether it actually happened or not. But in 1962, and some of you may have been around in 1962, President Kennedy toured Cape Canaveral, which has now been renamed Cape Kennedy. And he was taking that tour and ran across a young African-American man who had a broom in his hand. And as the president was wont to do, he went over to the man and said, "What do you do here?" And that man looked at him and said, "Mr. President," said, "I'm helping to send a man to the moon." And so I view my position very similar to the young man with the broom in his hand. We are helping to ensure that those employees that work for many of you who are here are able to have the retirement that they've worked for, the retirement that they've planned for, and one that will give them the sense of security that they should have after having served many years for many of you. So with that, thank you. I hope I get invited back next year. I'll tell you what we've done.